Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach Brennan and then take questions. Coach.
All right, good to see everybody. Appreciate you all being here. Obviously, this is a huge weekend on our campus, and I got to look to my notes to make sure I get all of this action accurate. Obviously, last night, Rita and our women's volleyball team had a huge win over BYU. That was awesome. Really, really excited for them. Tonight, our women's basketball team, Coach Burke and that crew, they get started, and so that's pretty exciting for them. Swim and dive competes tomorrow and Saturday against USC and UCLA. We got men's hoops on Friday night playing Utah Tech, and then triathlon competes for back-to-back national championships on Saturday. So there's a lot going on. This game is always a really special weekend because it's homecoming, and we have everybody coming back. We have over 1,000 football alumni signed up to come back for a tailgate, which we're really, really excited about. We've got a big-time opponent coming to town. We know that. It's a red out, so fans wear red. Tucson, let's rally, let's go. Zona Zoo, we need you because this is a big-time opponent coming in here. It's an incredible opportunity for our team, and we've had an awesome week of practice. And so, I just think of all these things happening, military appreciation game. There's so much happening this weekend here, so much happening around this game. It's a perfect way to spend a Saturday afternoon in Arizona Stadium. It's going to be a nice, beautiful 85 degrees. And we get to play early, and so just wake up and play. And so we're really, really, really looking forward to that. So an awesome week to support Arizona football, to support Arizona athletics. So Tucson, alums, fans, friends, everybody, let's get this thing going.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start with Justin and then Dave.
Kansas has two really good running backs. How do you assess just how those guys perform and just kind of the identity of that side of the ball for them?
Well, I think that's, and then you combine that with the quarterback, right? And I think that's one of the ways that Coach Leopold has always, built successful teams is around a really, really strong run game. They're creative with it, multiple people, they've got multiple good runners. Then you add quarterback run to that. They've got threats outside, with Henderson, which is a big body that can run. So they do a really nice job, and that's kind of been a good formula for him over the years.
David and then Troy.
Brent, you obviously went back to Lawrence last year for the basketball game, if I'm not mistaken. Did you get a chance to tour their new facility that they were building at the time? And what were your thoughts on what you saw, what maybe you envision could possibly be the future here at Arizona if you could get something like that going with a stadium remodel?
Yeah, no, I thought it was awesome. I did not get a tour. I don't know that they were letting opposing head coaches get tours of their brand new facilities at the time, but I did talk about it with Coach Leopold at the game, and it was great to talk with him. He was obviously really excited about it. Just what he felt like was an incredible commitment from their donor base and their administration to football and to elevate football, and it looks fantastic. And I think anytime you have a $400+ million renovation of a stadium, there's going to be a lot of awesome things that come with that. And I know that those conversations have happened before here. I know that people, Desiree, and there is conversations about like what this can be at Arizona Stadium, because we do have a great fan base and we do have a great city, right? And the facility's old, but it's a great place to watch a football game. And with what was done here, obviously long before I got here with the Lowell Stevens building, and just what an amazing facility that is, and what a great upgrade that is to the stadium. What are the other possibilities with the other parts?
Troy and then Jason.
You kind of touched on it with Justin's question, but Kansas quarterback, the pressure that he's able to put on a defense, just what makes him so difficult to defend, and how he's had so much success this season.
Well, this isn't the first season he's had success. He's had success for a long time at that school and in this conference. I think the thing that's interesting about him is he really is a dynamic player in both his ability to make every throw and his ability to run it effectively. And I think, he's a strong, powerful kid, and so you see him break tackles. I think all the running quarterbacks, they all kind of get lumped together. I do think they're all very different that we've played against. But I just knowing what they have done, how they're built with their really, really effective run game, and just with his arm talent, he's an incredibly hard player to defend.
Jason and then Justin.
It's not very often that Arizona beats a team in the fashion that, at least in the past, that it did on Saturday with Colorado. Is it easy to kind of narrow the focus right to Kansas, or do you keep that in mind when you start to shift focus of, hey, you guys were another game, another week type of deal?
I think for us, where we choose to live is in a 1 week window. And that's really what it is for us every single week. We know that we have a hell of a football team coming in here this weekend. They're tough, they're well coached, they have good players at all the positions, and they play extremely hard. And so we know that this is going to be a fist fight. And so that's where, as soon as we were done watching the film of the previous game and going through that, the focus immediately shifted to Kansas.
Justin and then Brian.
The other day, we got a chance to talk to Leroy Palu. Can you talk about his recruitment, what it took to get him here, and how he's been able to ascend into kind of a mainstay role in the defense?
Well, I think it's really awesome because we do want to be a program that shows a track record of developing players and being able to, give proof that they are getting better through their process here at the University of Arizona. I think Coach Salavea has been really, really impactful for Leroy. But it's also, had a lot to do with, how he attacks the work and how he attacks the opportunity that he's gotten to play. And when we were recruiting him, obviously junior college player from California, and, the junior college, every player that you bring in is different. Some freshmen are more ready to play when you bring them in than others. Some junior college players are ready to play and ready to make a huge impact right away. And then some need some more time to develop and, get, acclimated academically, socially, whatever it is, right? But Leroy showed up with that big smile, that big personality. You felt that on the recruiting trip. I think he really enjoyed being around the guys on the team. I think that was a big part of it. Those guys recruited him also. And then, him really leaning into Coach Salavea and what we're doing defensively has allowed him to make the plays he's making.
Brian and then David.
How did the visit with Greek life go, and was there any discussion about continuing that trend that's going on in college football with the shirtless sections that have been going on?
No, it's funny. The memes, just trying to keep up with that world. I think it's taxing on all of us.
Someone on staff that
Yeah,
just keeps you updated.
yeah, no. Normally that's my children, that do that, my own kids. But first of all, going through, seeing all the different parts of the Greek life here on campus, I thought was great. It was great for our players to be in front of those, students here, for us to connect with them, and I think that part of the Zona Zoo, I've said it before, right? The students showing up, I do believe the students control the energy of the stadium. I really do. Their excitement, their enthusiasm, the fun that they have, leading up to the game, and then that, then translated into kind of the impact they can have on the game is so important for us here. And I'm excited because I know there's been a lot of work that's gone on to it. I understand they have a designated tailgate area, that has been was maybe here, then went away, and then now it's come back, and but I'm just glad it's back. I'm just glad it's back because we want this to be a great game day experience for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're, 100 years old or if you're 21 and part of the Greek system. We want everyone to have a great experience coming to Arizona Stadium and experiencing a football game here.
David and then Troy.
Brent, when you look at the evolution of the passing game over the last month or so, what pleases you most about what you're seeing from Noah and the running backs and the receivers and the tight ends and on how they're connecting right now?
Well, I think that's just, I think Noah is really getting more comfortable with what we're doing, and I think that's really, really important. I think the more time together, the better off, it has a chance to be just, because when you think about it, there's a lot of new pieces in there, right? If you're talking about at the running back position, Mahdi, Q, right, new. At the receiver position, right, Hut, Spivey, Nunu, Wysong, right, just a lot. There's a lot of different pieces in there. Cam Barmore, all those things. And so I think, the more they play together, the more they feel the speed of the game. I think Coach Daggy, I think the offensive staff has done a really good job. But, you're only as good as your last week, right? So I'm excited about where we're at. I think it can be better. I think there's more there. And I'm excited to see us, put our foot on the gas pedal and keep going.
Troy and then Justin.
Kind of going off of the offense with Kansas, just the motion that they run, what makes them difficult in general of all that movement for a defense to stay focused on the objective of where they need to be.
Yeah, I think that's, one of those things that, motion, movement, all that stuff is, everybody has to do their job. And I know that sounds simple and that sounds like coach speak, but it's not. I mean, that's the beauty of football. It's the greatest team game ever created. And it really functions at its best, at its optimum, when every guy on the field is doing their job, with great effort, great intention, and great intensity. And so that part of it, with the motion, like people can't get out of their gap or they can't get in the wrong place. They have to have eye discipline. Like all of those things, everybody doing their job is so, so important when you play a team that has such an effective offense and they do enough movement that can get you off balance.
Justin and then David.
Obviously, the scoreboard is most important, but what do you think about the possibility of Noah setting the career touchdowns record this week?
I'm all for anything good that happens for Noah Fida. You know what I mean? I think that, our team goes as he goes. He's such a committed young man. He's such a loyal young man. I think he's one of those players that people are going to look back on for years to come about what a special human being he is and what a special player he was, because he continues to make a choice that is in lots of ways unselfish. He chooses his teammates. He chooses this university. He chooses the people that are here every day. And I think that part is just, he's so fun to coach. He's so competitive. He works so incredibly hard. His preparation is exceptional. And so that part makes him, really fun. So like anything that's positive for Noah, we all want that for him. Not just me, everybody in the building.
David and then Brian.
You mentioned that there's more there, Brent, in the passing game. What's that next step then that you want to see from him?
Well, that's kind of a big question. I think that's hard because it changes game to game. You know what I mean? I think depending on who you're playing, like sometimes there's more opportunities to throw the football, or there's more opportunities to run it. You know what I mean? So it just depends on that. I think you've seen some big plays, be made by Hutt and and Spivey and Nunu and Wysong, and I think there's more there for those guys to do. I think they work incredibly hard. I think Coach Wade is a fantastic coach. I think we're fortunate to have a lot of people in that receiver room that can positively impact a football game. And I think as long as Noah continues to do a great job of going through his progression, distributing the ball, like everyone's going to have a chance to make a play and impact the game.
Brian and then Jason.
Has the bowl eligibility topic even been brought up as far as this one locks it up for you guys?
It hasn't, just because we just focus on us and right now. And that's really where we stay. Focus on, I know that, again, coach speak or whatever, but we are in a 1 week window, and that's all we care about is this game and finding a way to play our best football on Saturday against a very good team from Kansas. And so that's what we're talking about. How prepared can we be for that moment? And that's, I know the outside world's talking a lot about that stuff, all those things, but the reality is all that matters is how we played this week.
Our last two will be Jason and then Justin.
I know this is kind of a loaded question, but yesterday, in a good way, you guys put out the video with Traded Stukes in the Shrine Bowl. What has he meant to this program on and off the field, just in the last couple of years since you've been here?
Yeah, since I've been here, he's just been a tremendous leader. He's always been a positive voice. I think because he's played so much football and he's been here such a long time, he does a great job of really sharing his wisdom with the team. You know what I mean? And I think his experience, because he's kind of run the gamut of experience as a player, right? And because of that, he can lean on that and really impart wisdom, especially to these young players or players that are new, because a lot of these players that we're trying to get into the fold of our football team, have only been here for 8 months, or they've only been here for 4 months, or right? Because just the nature of the portal, or here you have Stukes who's been here forever, it feels like to some people. And if he could stay forever, I would love it. We all would. But just a high character human being. He's a great leader. He's one of those guys that makes great choices. He gets good grades. He handles his business. He's just a total professional. And then he also has just this, when he plays, he's also a really good football player. So because he's one of those guys that seems to have his off the field life in order, and he also has his on the field life at a high level, he's a great person to be around our young players and to mentor and help guide them.
We'll wrap up with Justin.
So with that being said, you mentioned this is a 1 week window. So what are your keys for this week to make sure that you guys are coming out on the winning end?
The biggest thing is winning the turnover battle. We talk about that every single week, and I think that's something that's just so critical when you're playing in these tough games against tough opponents, in this conference. I think, the physical battle, what is that going to look like? You know what I mean? Knowing that they're going to want to run the football and it's going to be physical up front, and just what is that going to look like on both sides of the ball? And then, how do we handle the excitement, the moment, homecoming, big crowd, all that stuff, right? Can we lock in and play our best football, play fast, play with confidence, and make plays when we get the opportunity to?
Thank you, everybody.
Bear down.